you weren't dreaming. It's day 2 of Hot Garbage Earth, and the Krusty Basement Administration is handing out the hits like Halloween candy pop. As expected, yesterday was a pretty bad day for your everyday American, as it seemed Joseph Garbanet Weekend at Bernie's just picked up trash off the National Mall and signed it into law. Naturally, the story of the day is that thousands of National Guardsmen were ordered to leave the Capitol and vacate to a nearby parking garage, where 5,000 troops were ordered to sleep on cement floors with one bathroom after pulling weeks of security duty to protect the nation's cap. But hey, who cares about that? Because Joey Werther's original has his arms embraced around the entire nation at once. It's the party of unity. It's no big deal. It's just 5,000 troops, one bathroom, one electrical outlet, and the temperature's gotten to the low 40s. But hey, who cares about that? No big deal. But because the world is not complete trash and not every single person in Washington is a dirty, filthy swamp monster, newly elected Representative Madison Cawthorn came to the rescue with a truck full of pizzas for these brave American soldiers. Well done, sir. No feel-good and warm and fuzzy story would be complete without an appearance from Big Ron DeSanta Claus, the Sultan of our tropical kingdom. Big moisture, big tank top, big flip-flop, no chapstick. Big Ron DeSanta Claus came in with the hits, all of the presents down the chimney, and ordered over 600 National Guardsmen troops to return to Florida. Proud Florida man here, big coconuts, big dolphin energy, big pelican. I find it so absolutely hilarious that Joey Amtrak and all of his big blue Gibran friends are so sleazy, socially, you gotta leave. Yet they could care less about these 5,000 National Guardsmen as they have them sleeping on the floor in the Capitol, now sleeping outside in sub 40 degree temperatures on a garage basement with one bathroom. How are you gonna wash your hands? How are you gonna socially leave? Yo, you're a merchant of trash. As I said yesterday, it's very important that we give a fair shake to Joey Dumpster Fire to do right by this, but it's not my fault homie's coming out hot with the hits. We're 2 days in and it's already rules for thee, but not for Joey Basement, Joey Crust, Joey Marionette. One of the first pieces of discarded trash that Joey Dumpster found on the National Mall, picked up and signed into law, was a rule that said that there are no maskless people allowed on federal lands or federal property. And within hours, he's photographed on federal property without a diaper on. Awesome! Literally, he didn't even make it one day. And in today's press conference in DC, a very reasonable and well-spoken reporter simply asked Slaley's replacement, Slaley, our queen, what about this? And she goes, well, it's a really important day. And he was celebrating. What? That's your answer? So, yo, Slaley, come back to us! But whatever, no surprises here. We all know the C-Clap is just a clown show anyways, because, again, the same day, Joey Basement's having a press conference inside, people in the room, no diaper, and against guidelines, he goes and just coughs in his hand on camera. Nice. Naturally, that wasn't the only garbage executive order of the day. If people could only understand and remember that the government's intentions and the laws and rules that it puts in place with good theoretical intentions typically have the complete opposite destructive effect on the people that it actually seeks out to protect. Now, I'll spare you the details of this executive order because a lot of great content has come out about this, and I would encourage you to do your own research on the topic. But yesterday's executive order that protected against discrimination, or theoretically was supposed to protect against discrimination in sports, allows transgender athletes to compete in the sport of which they identify. Now, if you want to come at me on this, that's fine, but all I have to say is that this is not really going to affect male athletes that much. The people that this is going to sincerely and seriously negatively impact is females in sports. If a biological female is forced and obligated to compete against a biological male, they are at a great disadvantage. And this is a real problem and is really bad for female athletes. I would encourage you to look no further than the story of Fallon Fox, a now retired female MMA athlete that broke one of her opponent's skulls in a fight. And that exact same female athlete was interviewed and said that she had never felt so much force and power from any other female athlete. Again, this is science, the party of science. This is a biological male fighting a biological female. there is a disadvantage. I am not anti-T. Quite frankly, you should be able to do whatever you want with your life. That does not bother me. I just want to be a cisgender, white privileged, white male that just stands up for women in sports. That's it. And even though every single thing is on fire and it's hard to pinpoint which thing is the trashiest right now, another thing I would like to bring to light is the executive order that extends the moratorium on evictions. The moratorium on evictions was in place until the end of January, and Joey Basement, Joey Clueless extended it now to the end of March. And what I would like to make a quick note of is that this moratorium, which to simplify it, does not allow landlords to evict tenants for non-payment of rent, is going to actually have a severely negative impact on those exact same landlords. Because people often think that landlords are these massive corporations that own 40,000 units, of which there certainly are a lot of. But a lot of landlords are just your everyday average American that worked really, really hard and used their hard-earned money and saved capital to invest in a property that they could rent out for a small passive income, of which they make a very, very small piece of profit on. And even though in theory, using this rule, these landlords are not allowed to evict tenants for not paying rent, even though that rent is in theory still accruing, those landlords still have to pay the bank for that property. They still have to pay all of their bills. Now there is a pot of 25 some odd billion dollars in rental assistance, and that money is extremely difficult to get, especially for small landlords or people that own a property or two. But you know who has the best ability to get some of that rental assistance money? Those huge landlords, the ones that have 25, 30,000 units. They have whole teams in place that work really hard to get that rental assistance. So again, it crushes out your everyday hard-working American. It's out here to tax the rich, eat the rich, destroy the rich, when the rich is just the guy next door that owns a house that's trying to make a very small and slim margin so that they can stay afloat, when they're struggling just the same. But hey, who cares about that? Tax the rich, eat the rich, buy an $800 tax the rich sweatshirt, easy, protect the little guy. What people fail to understand is, do you understand how hard you have to work to earn enough money to own a rental property? Do you understand how much time, effort, and sacrifice that you have to put in to own a property that you can rent to another person? Because the name of the game for Big Blue is to destroy people that work hard and insinuate that the only hardworking Americans are the ones that are at the very bottom of the economic ladder, and forgetting and disparaging anybody who has worked really, really hard for a really, really long time to save money, save capital, invest it, and be smart about their money. Those people are hardworking Americans just the same. You're gone and done it now. Gather around, beanbags. Grandfather Sauce has an economic lesson for all yous guys. According to U.S. News, a 2017 survey by Fidelity Investments said that 88% of millionaires are self-made. 88%. That means little to no inheritance. Self-made. Because a lot of people in this country, regardless of their sex, their gender, their orientation, where they live, what color their skin is, understand that the American dream is very real and quite possibly the most promising thing in the entire planet. And if you work really hard, you get rewarded for providing value to other human beings. In order to be a millionaire, in order to earn that first $1 million, you first need to earn capital by exchanging your labor for money. After the very difficult, time-consuming, and arduous task of exchanging your labor and time for money, you then have to preserve that capital while also having enough money to spend on the things that you need, like food, water, and shelter. It's very difficult to exchange just your labor for money and also be a millionaire. So you not only have to earn it, you have to preserve it, but then you have to invest that money by temporarily loaning it to other individuals that will take your money and invest it in plant, equipment, education, knowledge, tools, and facilities that will allow them to multiply it by creating more value through products and services for other human beings. People, individuals, everyday Americans have to use that money to invest into assets and cash flowing processes that allow them to not only earn money for themselves, but also earn enough money to pay you back with profit. In order for any money to grow, you have to produce jobs. You have to produce goods and services that people willingly consume them with their own hard-earned money in order for you to get wealthier. So all of these millionaires and billionaires that everybody so callously disparages at every single turn and blames all of their problems on are largely responsible for a vast majority of the jobs, of the prosperity, of the success of this great nation. Small businesses employ more than half of the people in this country, yet they are constantly demonized. The rich, the billionaires, the millionaires. What people don't understand is that the real problem is an over-bloated, overspending government. And if we could only reduce the size of government instead of stealing money from fellow hardworking Americans, we would be in a much better place. Demonize the large, bloated, overspending federal structure, not your fellow hardworking Americans. The government is bloated and in a tremendous and untenable amount of debt. And people, especially those on Big Blue, seem to think that it's a better idea to give more power and more money and steal more money from hardworking Americans' pockets to finance this bloated, ever-growing, and ever trashier federal structure. The bigger it gets, the more power it gets. The more power it gets, the less power you have. Do not, absolutely do not ever support taxing more Americans. Do not support stealing more money out of the pockets of hardworking Americans. You should instead be promoting and supporting smaller government, less bloated government with a lower budget and more power to the people and the free market. I didn't mean to get it serious here. I was trying to hit you with a couple of zaps, but look, this is important. You gotta look deep, friends. You gotta look deep. Yo, we need to be aware of this. Do not listen to Alexandria Ocasio-Clueless. This woman has absolutely no understanding of the economy, of finances, of how this country operates. She is just a sounding piece, hell-bent on destroying your everyday American for the sake of equality and fairness. She doesn't even understand the negative ramifications of all the garbage and unintelligible lack of knowledge that she spews on a daily basis. Do not listen to her. She is a mouthpiece and a puppet of a much larger structure that understands that the power being taken away from your average, everyday, middle-of-the-road, middle-class American means more power goes to the people at the top. Just like the government, if you give control to them, it does the opposite effect of who they intend to protect. Defunding the police hurts the people that need the police the most. It's the opposite. Every single thing, for the vast majority of things that the government does, they have the opposite effect of on the people that they intend to theoretically protect. Your research, your simple awareness to what is going on day by day will help turn the tides of this. AOC is not slaying, quit. She is not slaying. Just because you like how she says something, what she says, or what she looks like, or her gender, or her background, or you agree with a lot of the things she said, or you think she's a nice person. The only thing that matters is what they do, not what they say, what they do, not what they say, and the effect and the impact that it has on everyone. Listen up, pay attention, do more research. She is not slaying, she is ruining your mindset. Hey, whatever, no big deal. Freedom isn't free. Freedom costs $1.05. The truth is far beneath the surface. You just gotta go and find it. I hate this guy. He yells too much and he doesn't slay.